like to call the Macomb City Council Committee of the Whole to order, please. If the clerk would call the roll.
Justin Shu.
Present.
John Vajetzi.
Present.
Byron Shabazz.
Present.
Dave Dorsett.
Present.
Ashley Katz.
Here.
Don Wynn.
Here.
Jennifer Hemingway.
Present.
All present.
We have a quorum. Thank you. Citizens wishing to address the committee of the whole on matters germane to the agenda of tonight's meeting will be limited to 3 minutes and are asked to be brief and concise in making their remarks. Comments made and submitted by mail or email will not be read aloud, but a copy will be provided to each member of the council and made a part of the minutes of this meeting. Does anyone wish to speak to the council under the public comment section of tonight's agenda? Yes, sir.
Thank you
You're welcome.
for the opportunity.
Can you state your name, please?
Yeah, thank you. Kanan Albright. I'm a resident here in Macomb. I wanted to say I think this business district for the Macomb is a great idea. It's nice to get it formalized. You know, Macomb's grown a lot in the last decade, and I think the needs of the economy are becoming more articulated. And I like to think of Macomb in like 4 business zones, and East Jackson being one of them, the business park being another, and the square, and then West Jackson. East Jackson's doing really well. A lot of businesses moving in, traffic's picking up. That'll spur more investment. Looking good. The hotel residents and citizens still don't have access to adequate sidewalks to explore the area, so that might be something. The business park behind Hy-Vee hasn't yet reached its potential. I've seen other cities that have put a lot of formality into their business park, listening to tenants. You know, realizing a lot of these companies, this is the apex of their business. And, you know, maybe they want more privacy, more formalization to show off their headquarters. The square is looking great, and I think it's a testament to nice sidewalks and some paint. And so that leaves Jackson, which, you know, it's not going to get the traffic probably that it used to just from cars, so it's not going to look important to investors probably. But it's really important to put some energy behind it because I think it supports the university and the student experience, and that's really where, you know, we could focus because they're, you know, strong partner. There are a lot of universities throughout the U.S. that have very strong university-city partnerships where there's a lot of flow and, you know, students can, on their first visit, see this is a place I want to be. And I think, you know, having someone maybe managing that specifically, like maybe someone managing specifically the business park, East Jackson as well, might have its own interests. And you know, before we take money away for special projects, you know, I think it's good to look at the momentum, what we have available to us, and, you know, what we can reinvest in and, you know, capitalize on. But I do think Jackson, beyond the sidewalk issue and just being—
Mr. Albright, I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's your time for this evening. Thank you
very much.
Thank you for being here. Anyone else wish to speak to the council under the public comments section of tonight's agenda? Already hearing none, we'll move on to item number 1, discussion on an ordinance to create a Class R, a restaurant plus extended hours liquor license for Arrowhead Hospitality Incorporated, doing business as Rocky's Bar and Grill at 1420 West Jackson Street here in the city. This had first reading at last week's Committee of the Whole. The petitioner was present at the meeting. Any discussion this evening at all? Yes, Alderman Vajetzi.
Do they have a projected timeline of when they're looking to open? No.
We do not.
Okay, thank you.
Do we have a representative?
No, no one from the petitioners here this evening. They were asked to be here, and I believe that Mr. Chantil had delegated that to representative, but they are not here. Anyone else? All right, we'll place that on for second reading and action at next week's council meeting. Item number 2, discussion on the ordinance to create a special event liquor license for St. Paul's Raising Saints event. This event had first reading last week. We do have a representative here from St. Paul's. Ms. Cody, did you want to come up and give us an overview of what this event entails? It's been pretty popular the last few years.
Yeah, thanks, Mayor Inman. Just wanted to say thank you first for listening to our idea of a Raising Saints block party. We've been doing it since 2017. And the goal is to raise money for children in McDonough County. And so the past several years, we've been able to give away over $10,000 to support children in our county. Some of the entities that we have given money to is Sleep in Heavenly Peace, which I think you're familiar with. We actually went and helped them build beds. We supported the YMCA and their scholarship program that they give to children who can't afford to join a sport. Then they give money to them so they can do that. St. Paul's School, teddy bears at the hospital. We've spent money on helping kids get a teddy bear every time they go into the hospital. The school resource officer program, we've given money to help them provide little trinkets and different things to inspire kids to have their very best behavior. And the OPS helmets for first graders. OPS gives every child in McDonough County that's in first grade a helmet, and so we support that program. So with that, we have a children's fun event, which is free in the morning with snow cones. The firemen are there spraying kids down. We have foam and we have bounce houses. And so that's 2 hours of fun, free fun for kids. And then at evening is fun for adults, where we have Captain Geach. And this year we're also having Kalen Reardon, whom you might know. He's a former Western baseball player. He's going to perform to open up for Captain Geach. And so then that will be where we need a liquor license.
Very good. All right. Any questions for Mrs. Cody? All righty. Any discussion on the issuance of the license at all? All righty. Thank you, Mrs. Cody, for being
Thank
here.
you.
I'm sorry. We'll place that on for second reading and final action at next week's city council meeting. Item number 3, discussion on ordinance to authorize the rezoning of 1224 Maple Avenue here in the city from an R1 single-family residence use to an OI office institutional use. This had first reading at last week's council meeting, and there's an additional report in your packet from the Community Development Coordinator. Ms. Lambert, would you want to go over that for us, please?
Yes, so we had the Youth for Christ Western Illinois present to the Planning Commission on May 21st for their rezone. And as you see, they're looking to change from an R1 single family to a OI office institutional. And this location has a history of being OI, so again, Red Cross, and now as a place for young people to worship. They're looking to change that formally, so this way it just opens up in terms of what they can do without taking additional steps in terms of variances, and just better aligns with what the use for that location. And as you guys know, for that location, we also have other OI between the Maple Ave Church and the school there.
Very good. Any questions for Miranda? Alderman Dorsett.
Just from my recollection, church use is essentially allowed in any zoning capacity, correct?
Correct. With some of them, though, they might be permitted by right, which again, something like OI, if it's in a residential, that's where it requires a special use.
Well, I think this is a much better suit, so.
Okay, very good. Anyone else? All right, thank you, Miranda. We'll have that on for second reading and final action at next week's council meeting. Item number 4, discussion on ordinance proposing the approval of a business development district redevelopment plan and establishing a date for a public hearing for the Macomb Business Development District number 1. This had first reading at last week's council meeting. Any questions or any discussion about that process that we're beginning to undertake? Alderman Dorsett.
One thing I would like to mention, and I think it addresses what Mr. Albright was saying at the beginning of the meeting, this is not something that would take away from any particular pot of money. And even though we don't know what those parameters might be at this point in time, they may actually be able to help us make some of the changes that you have talked to us about previously on Jackson Street, because it would allow us to have another pot of money and another tool in the toolbox to allow for some of those changes.
Absolutely, I would totally agree. In the areas that he mentioned, Kanan mentioned, would be covered under this business district: East and West Jackson, North Lafayette, the downtown, and what's tentatively proposed right now. We'll get into that as we go through the summer, exactly what the area is. But this is just starting the process. But I have lots of ideas for things that we need to do to improve pedestrian safety, incentives for new businesses, et cetera. So, yep.
The establishing a date, do you have a date in mind at this point?
It's August 18th, 5:15 p.m. It was in the last week's packet.
That's for those playing along at home.
Thank you.
Good questions. Any other discussion? I would tell you that we've had some discussions and interaction with the general public on a number of issues. This was one of them, and there was some question about what ultimately the tax would be applied to. So just in general, the tax would not be applied to titled vehicles, implements of husbandry, farm use, medicine, and drugs and groceries. The same thing that we now currently do not collect, the 1% infrastructure sales tax. Those same things would be not subject to the application of any additional tax that would come from the business district application. Alderman Dorsett.
And there was a question that I raised earlier about the potential impact on hotel motel tax. Is that outside the purview also?
I believe it is,
so, yeah.
but we'll get you a firm answer.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Anything else? Alrighty, we'll place that on for second reading and final action at next week's council meeting as well. Item number 5, presentation of a quarter report from the Public Works Department. And we have the Public Works Director, Miss Alice Ortman here. Alice.
Good evening. Forward to our quarterly reports, and we had a fairly busy quarter from February through April. I'll start with wastewater. We treated over 209 million gallons of wastewater this quarter, zero overflow, even though there were a few periods of heavy rain. We cleaned 50,000 feet of sewer and completed a wide range of critical maintenance at the wastewater plant and out in the collection system. Both of the bar screens and the new grit removal systems are now fully operational, and Josh has already noticed an improvement in treatment efficiency throughout our primary and aeration basins. And so as we get this work all completed, we should have a lot better removal percentages. We welcomed a new team member, Daniel Torres, and we are continuing our participation in the COVID wastewater surveillance study, and those results were attached to the report. The water department distributed 206 million gallons to residents and businesses. We responded to 2 main breaks and had to issue 7 boil orders, 6 of which were related to the ongoing water main replacement project. Most importantly, though, was that all our water quality testing remained within compliance during this last quarter, and we were able to submit the lead service line replacement plan to the EPA on time. We have a couple of more years to get the final done, but we're on track for that. Speaking of the lead service, or lead services in general, we have to complete our first round of lead and copper sampling for 60 residences throughout the Macomb, and we were able to get all of those samples collected, and we are now waiting for the data to come in. So we were a little nervous. You know, people say they want a sample, and then they don't always necessarily follow through. But the water operators were out knocking on doors and dropping off bottles and picking up bottles, and it went very well. I was pleasantly surprised and impressed with how well it went. So, knock on wood, the next round, which will be in the fall, will go as smoothly. Additional maintenance work at the water plant. We cleaned the gravity filters media, and we have seen an improvement in treatment through those media or through those filters as well. We've done pump repair and a lot of work out at Spring Lake. And in March, Jefferson Shelton became our newest water operator. During this quarter, then Operations Division, there was quite a bit of time spent on snow removal, street repairs, and storm sewer maintenance. And the annual oak tree pruning during the colder months was completed as well. And we supported Lavadier in their installation of the CDBG water main project, taking care of shutoffs and boil orders and bacterial samples, et cetera, just to keep that project moving. We did get our first of 2 new tandem dump trucks, so that was exciting. And our crews spent a bit of time trying to make the work area surrounding the street shed a little more functional. We made improvements to where the street sweeper discharges the sweepings, and some storage for some of our equipment that doesn't fit in the garage so that it's not out all the time. Finally, we have the capital improvements that have been going on. The wastewater treatment plant phase 2 is, well, now it is done, but during this quarter it was almost done. The aerobic digesters have been retrofitted, and the miscellaneous equipment installation was continuing. We did ask for a grant extension because we did have delays on delivery, but we still have been able to complete with just a month extension. Adams Street and Johnson Street, the main work was done. There was still some sidewalks to do on Johnson, and that is done, and they're in the landscaping phase and punch list phase on both of those projects. Burgess Lift Station is on hold pending pump delivery and electrical control panels, but all the underground work is completed there. Design is progressing on the new water treatment facility, and the EPA loan application was submitted back in March, and site acquisition for the 2 new wells, is in progress. And we have started design on the 2025 roadway improvement projects, which include several residential streets and sidewalk replacement along North Lafayette. So I think it's been a really productive quarter, and I'd like to thank the Public Works staff for their dedication in maintaining and improving the infrastructure for our community. And if you have any questions, I'd be happy to answer.
Any questions or comments for Ms. Ortman?
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Alice. Next, we have a presentation of the quarterly report for the Marketing and Downtown Development Department by Director Savannah Ballard. Ms. Ballard.
Good evening, everyone. Thank you for your patience as I am presenting this report a little later than anticipated. I ensure to be very timely next quarter. Quarter 4 is a bit quieter for our downtown events. We're not necessarily hosting any during this quarter, but we are actively getting prepared for those summer events that we're starting to enjoy now, such as Park and Cruise and Downtown Summer Concert Series. Those are going very well this quarter that we're currently in. The City of Macomb was able to recognize 3 employees for their years of service during quarter 4 within the Business, Public Works, and Janitorial departments. The downtown was at an occupancy rate of 92%, leaving 6 properties that were available for business redevelopment within the Downtown Historic District. I was able to take part in some extra conferences and trainings as we were a little bit slower with events this quarter. Some topics that were covered were rural economic development, racial healing, mental health first aid, and the use of governmental AI. With the help of our city grant writer, we were able to submit a grant for the T-Mobile Hometown Grant. We have received confirmation that we did not receive the grant for this coming quarter. However, this grant is open quarterly, so we would have an opportunity to resubmit that grant for these specific aspects or present it in a different way, but we would still have an opportunity to receive that grant in the future. Other notable projects are down below there. A few include our second downtown quarterly newsletter that has been very well received with our downtown businesses. So we look forward to continuing that into Q3. So we look forward to that. We also were able to work on our community event calendar, which I will talk about here at the end. That has been very successful so far. Next page here, we will see some statistics from our website. Nothing too crazy there. Statistics for our Facebook are also there, lower than normal, which is anticipated for Q4. But we did have one of our biggest posts, if you will, since I've been here at least. Our TJ Maxx ribbon cutting got over 1,000 likes and 500,000 views, which is amazing, and I truly feel like that shows the community support and their excitement for this project. So I think that that is amazing. Downtown statistics are there as well. Again, lower just because they are in a time frame where we're not hosting as many events as normal. And down at the very end of this report here, you will see a QR code for our community event calendar. This just debuted about 3 weeks ago, but I would encourage you to take a look at that. There is events popping up there every single day, and you will continue to see more of those events in the coming weeks. I am actually going to an event this coming weekend that I found on the community event calendar, so I think that it's a great way to realize all the different amazing events that we have going on in the community for everyone to enjoy. Happy to take any questions.
Alderman Vajezzi.
Not a question, just a comment. It's funny, as I travel around the state, I see a lot of downtowns that are really falling by the wayside. And as I look at ours and looking at our percent that were filled, it's great to see that we actively go after people and that we actively take a hand in making sure that the downtown is upkept. Everything from the CVB putting Macomb to the new lights to the whole new downtown. So I really appreciate that because, you know, when my mom was alive and she came here, she loved our downtown. And coming from Washington, D.C., where they're always busy there, she just thought it was just the best thing since sliced bread. So it's great to see that we have continued business looking to try to stay in Macomb and continue to take care of our citizens. So thank you.
Thank you.
Very good. Anyone else? Alrighty, thank you, Savannah. And not on your agenda, but item number 7, quarterly report from the Office of Grant Administration with Director Bidenstadt. Jessica?
Good evening. So I will go over the summary tonight, but the awards that we have been awarded to date, and this was also prior, before I took this position, there have been 28 awarded grants, totaling $17,391,562.90. Currently, we are working on implementing about 9 grants. That's around $1,757,957.90. The number of grants that we applied to in Q4 were around 7 applications submitted with $0 in match, and the total for that was around $5,776,035.14. There are about 11 applications opening within the next quarter. That number has probably gone up since I have printed out this report. There have been lots of new grants that have been released. And currently, when I wrote this report, there were 3 applications that we were applying to, and that number has also increased. I believe I'm closer to 10 applications that will be coming your way. The total dollars that were awarded for the full year of 2024 was $2,413,503 with $50,000 in match. And the number of applications that we applied to were 14 applications, totaling $498,565.14. We also recently received the grant agreement for the Safe Streets for All grant, so we are reviewing that, and we'll hopefully have that submitted soon. And I can't think of anything else at the moment. I'll take any questions.
Questions for Ms. Bidenstadt? Alderman Vajezzi.
Again, not a question, just a comment. So to date, we've had 28 grants for $17.3 million. And then if you look at this, of the $2,413,000 we did in fiscal year, right now 2004, for the first quarters, we only had $50,000 in match. So that is being very prudent with and very particular and specific with the money that we're receiving. So kudos to you and to everybody that you're working with for making sure that we're not putting a ton of money out, 50% match, whatever, to make sure that we're getting money into the city to do all these projects. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, thank you, Jessica.
Thank you.
There is one action item on for your consideration this evening. You gave yourselves power to act at last week's city council meeting. Consideration to approve and ratify the collective bargaining agreement between the city of Macomb and Teamsters Local Number 627. If I could have Ms. Scalf read just an overview of the proposed negotiated agreement.
Certainly. We ended up negotiating with the Teamsters, had a number of different sessions, and ultimately did come to what we believe is a good resolution. The primary modification in this contract is that over the next 3 years, we will phase out the current matrix and get to a single salary schedule for each position. And entry level will start at 80% of that salary level. After 1 year, they'll move to 90%. And after 3 years, they'll be at 100% of scale. That will happen over the next 3 years, as I mentioned. We agreed to apply retroactive longevity steps. When we previously reinstated longevity, they just got the step that they were in prospectively. We're going to go back and allow some catch up on those prior steps. Won't be any back pay, but they'll get those steps moving forward. We added a lead operator 3 in each of the divisions, which will allow some flexibility for the department if we have more than one op 3. And we did propose and agree to a 4% salary adjustment each of the next 3 years.
Thank you. Any questions for Ms. Scalf regarding the agreement? Alderman Bajenski, excuse me, Alderman Dorsett.
Have the Teamsters ratified?
My information from one union member is that, yes, they did vote to ratify it. I have not gotten confirmation from the business agent.
But you've solicited his.
I have, yes.
Okay, he's not responding.
I have not gotten a response.
Thank you.
It is typically my practice to wait for the other party to sign first on every contract, because I'm weird that way. So we wouldn't have the mayor execute the contract until the union has executed it.
We'd entertain a motion to adopt or authorize the execution of the agreement between us and Teamsters Local Number 627.
So moved.
Second.
It's moved and seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, roll call, please.
Shu.
Aye.
Vajetsky.
Aye.
Shabazz.
Aye.
Dorset.
Aye.
Katz. Aye. Wynn.
Aye.
Hemingway.
Aye.
All ayes.
Motion carried. Thank you. I don't believe there's any other business to come before you this evening. We'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Make a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Moved and seconded to adjourn. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. The meeting is adjourned.